Hey guys, so I'm going to be going over your comprehension questions from chapter 2, Las Uvas. So let's get started. Number 1, which 3 words best summarize chapter 2? Okay, this one I kind of struggled with because I felt that 2 were really kind of good, made sense to me. So I'll just tell you which one I picked. So A was superstition, grapes, and birthday. B, Papa Miguel Alfonso. C, thorn, weight, despair. Or D, roses, crochet, and uncles. They all kind of really could work. So honestly, I'm going to say for this one, whichever one you picked, I would give you credit because they really all worked. But I said, I said A, superstition, grapes, and birthday. I felt that those 3 really kind of were what the 3 that best kind of gave you an idea of what chapter 2 was about. But anyone you picked really kind of made sense. They talked about all of those things. That was a hard one. Okay, number 2, which word best describes Ramona in chapter 2? So Ramona is Esperanza's mother. A, anxious, B, bossy, C, logical, or D, grouchy. So anxious definitely would work because she's waiting for Papa to come back and she's anxious. She's nervous. So that would work. B, bossy. She's not being bossy. C, logical. That could work because she was kind of being logical and saying like, okay, it might be this, it might be that. He's, or D, grouchy. I don't think she was grouchy. So I thought A, anxious was the best one because she was, nervous about him coming, not being able to make it back home. She was pacing, they were praying, they were, quiet. Every little sound was like the loudest sound in the house. So I think anxious is the best one there. Number 3, based on the events of the story, which most likely happened? A, Papa took a fall and was injured while working. B, bandits who were angry at the large landowners fought with Sixto. That's Esperanza's dad. C, Tio Luis and Tio Marcos hurt Papa. Or D, Papa was hurt, but he will be fine. Okay, so there's only one here that it can be. A, Papa took a fall. No, he didn't fall. B, bandits who were angry at the large landowners fought with Sixto. That's probably right, but let's read on. C, Tio Luis and Tio Marco hurt Papa. I mean, they kind of, we don't really like the uncles. You can tell Esperanza and Mama and Abuelita do not like them. But as far as hurting their brother, I don't know if that really made sense that they hurt him. Or D, Papa was hurt, but he will be fine. We know he's not going to be fine. We know he, unfortunately, has died. So B makes the most sense, bandits. So remember there was a war, the Mexican Revolution, and the bandits did not like the large landowners. They felt that they had too much money and they had too much land and it wasn't fair, so they were going and hurting them, which that's not right either, obviously. Okay, number 4. Read this passage from chapter 2. Big pearls of blood pulsed from the tip of her thumb, and she automatically thought, bad luck. This is an example of which literary device? A, flashback, B, foreshadowing, C, simile, or D, onomatopoeia. So A, flashback. She's not flashing back to anything that's in the current moment, so it's not that. B, foreshadowing. So foreshadowing is when the author gives you kind of a hint about what could possibly be coming. So that makes sense if she's thinking bad luck and we know what actually ends up happening, very bad luck. So foreshadowing makes sense. Simile, no, they're not comparing anything. And onomatopoeia is what we talked about yesterday, where the word, when you say it, makes the same sound as the sound makes. So it's not that. So the answer is B, foreshadowing. Number 5, much of chapter 2. Okay, this one was hard. I had a hard time choosing because these all seemed correct to me. So this is kind of like number 1. So whichever one you picked for number 5, I think is correct to an extent. So don't worry about this one. I think it's one I don't even really know if I'm fully correct because they all seem really correct. Most of all of them, 3 of them at least. Okay, much of chapter 2, A, provided descriptions for what the land and ranch were like. We did learn about what the land and ranch was like, but I don't think that was much of chapter 2. That was some of chapter 2, but not much of it. B, was used for character development. This one I kind of thought, okay, you are learning about the different characters, so it could be B. C, gave the reader a look at what daily life was like for the Ortega family. This one didn't make as much sense because their daily life wasn't like that. Their daily life was very happy. They had, servants waiting on them. They, harvested their land. They had a very happy life. So that day, chapter 2, when they were waiting for their papa to come back, that was not their daily life. So it's not C. So I guess D does make the most sense. Provided background information such as character connections. That's the one I chose because I felt like you got to learn about Miguel, Hortensio, and Alfonso. You got to learn about Esperanza and Miguel's past. You got to learn about Mama and Abuelita. You even met Tio Luis and Tio Marcos. You learned about, how great of a guy Papa was. So I think D definitely does make the most sense. Okay. Number 6, sequence the following events by numbering them in the correct order. Okay. Esperanza crochetts lopsided mountains. Abuelita and Hortensia began lighting candles and saying prayers. Esperanza picks roses. Alfonso cried, and Tio Luis and Tio Marco bring Papa's silver belt buckle. Okay, so this one, I said number 1 was Esperanza picks the roses. She does that first. And then the next thing that happens is her and Abuelita are crocheting. So the second one is Esperanza crochets lopsided mountains. Then number 3, Tio Luis and Tio Marcos bring Papa's silver belt buckle back to them. So that's 3. 4, Abuelita and Hortensia began lighting candles and saying prayers because they knew something bad had happened because they had his belt buckle. And then finally 5, Alfonso cried when he got back with Papa's body. So this is what the order, if you want to kind of pause it and check your work. Okay, number 7. This one was also hard because we haven't talked about figurative language. So if you did not, we have talked about figurative language, but not a ton. So if you did not get this one, or if you got this one wrong, don't worry about changing it. I'm just going to tell you what it is. And if you didn't write anything, write in what I have. But if you already wrote something, don't worry about changing it all up. Okay, reread this line from chapter 2. It had taken every day of 3 weeks to put the harvest to bed, and now everyone anticipated the celebration. What type of figurative language is used? So is an idiom, okay? So the line means put the harvest to bed means to be finished with it. So they're not actually putting the harvest to bed. It's a kind of figurative language for saying we're done with the harvest. It's put to bed. We're finished. So that's number 7. And number 8, what do you know about Miguel? Check all that apply. Okay, so we know that he is part Zapotec Indian. I didn't check patient. I don't know. Do you think he's patient? I don't really think in this chapter he is very patient. I don't know. Maybe. If you put patient, that's okay. I was kind of back and forth on that one. We know he's Esperanza's age. That should be checked. He's good at fixing things. That should be checked. He wants to live in the U.S. because that's where that's where his cousin lives. Will marry Esperanza one day? No. We talked about the river between them, and they made it clear that they won't get married. Esperanza made that clear. Quiet strength. I picked that one because I think he's very quiet, but he is strong. Big sleepy eyes. That was Alfonso that had the big sleepy eyes. I don't think Miguel had them, but if you check that one off, it's okay. Likes deep rivers. No, that was a metaphor, not really rivers. And he was learning how to run the ranch. I checked that one off because Papa had taken him all over the ranch and shown him all around. And if Papa would be alive, maybe one day, Miguel would be in charge of the ranch. Okay, so that's everything for chapter 2. Let me go over them again really quick. Number 1 was A. Number 2 was A. Number 3 was B. Number 4 was B. Number 5 was D. Number 6 was 2, 4, 1, 5, 3. Number 7 was idiom. The harvest to bed means to be finished with it. And number 8, kind of just check off. The Zapotec Indian, he's Esperanza's age, good at fixing things, wants to live in the U.S., quiet strength, learning how to run the ranch. Those are the ones I picked. Okay, so I'll hold this up and you can pause it and you can check your work. Okay, so that's all I have for Esperanza today. I will post a discussion question about Chapter 3, Los Papayas, in a few minutes. But I wanted to show, I think I showed you this yesterday that I have Restart. Yes, I did show you. So I'm going to read a chapter in Restart and I'll post that. So if you want to get a snack and follow along on Restart, or we'll just listen along on Restart, that would be cool. Okay, guys, talk to you soon. Bye.